Despite the fact that AI is taking over, you still need to know how to code to get a job as a developer. For now. Today, we'll be strengthening our coding skills by building this e-commerce website. If you're new here, hi, my name's Zoe. I'm a software engineer and former university professor who loves teaching folks how to code. If you're interested in learning how to code and becoming a front-end developer, check out that first link in the description below. But without further ado, let's hop into the video. So let's go ahead and get this built. So I've grabbed this design from Dribbble. It's one of the Dribbble shots. And if you haven't ever done this before, it's a really great way to grab designs. Dribbble has a whole section just called shots where it's just different designs for different web designs, different mobile designs that you can basically visually copy and use and create really because they're just designs. They're not necessarily fully built out websites. So highly recommend checking out Dribbble as an alternative option for finding some designs. So we're going to build this one right here. It's called Shopcart, I guess like a bit of a play on Instacart. But as you can see, it's this main sort of landing page. You have like a checkout page, a categories page or a section, and then like the product details page and the information around that. So pretty straightforward stuff. As I said, we don't have the actual design, so this is kind of what we got to work with, but I do have some tools installed in my browser that will make this a lot easier, like this color picker. Highly recommend grabbing that if you don't have one like that already. Just makes it a lot easier when we do go in to grab these colors and figure out what's going on here. So I've gone ahead and already spun up a web app for this. It's basically just a Next.js starter. If you haven't ever used it before, it's the one that I have linked in my description below, but it's Next.js, Material UI, and TypeScript just already set up and ready to go to make your life a little bit easier. An interesting thing about this Dribbble shot in particular is that they've already gone ahead and created a bit of like a test site. It's not fully functional, but it does give us like a good idea of what they were maybe thinking about, what sort of design that they want us to go with. And as you can see, it doesn't fully match the design either. So we'll go ahead and build our best version of this. And we'll be using free APIs to get some of the data just to make our lives, again, just a little bit easier. So hopping into the app already. I've created this folder called components where I'm going to put all my components, and I've created another folder called styles where I'm going to put all of my style information. And I like to get these kind of set up from the beginning so that we just work in a very clean and orderly way. So first things first, I'm going to create a new file in styles, and that's going to be where we save all of our like color information just to make again make things easy and organized. So I'm going to say export const colors. And that's going to be all of the colors that we're going to use here. So I'm going to just go ahead and pick some colors from here. So I'm going to grab this and we're going to save it as a dark green. And I'm going to grab whatever color this is for like the text. Looks like a bit of a gray. Let's call it dark gray. And what else do we need? You know what? This text over here actually looks like it's a light gray, so let's grab that. And we have the dark green. Oh, wonder if that's the same light gray. No, it's slightly different. So let's go light gray text and light gray image, light gray text and light gray component. Not the best naming actually. Light gray. Oh, actually that's not even correct. Pick a color from this. That's the text. They're pretty close. I think I might just go with a singular light gray and have that be that because the two would never meet. So yeah, let's do it with the light gray just in terms of giving it a good name. This is going to be our black color. Black. And again, the color picker is not like the most perfect way to do this, but if you don't have a design and you want to just build a website that already exists, it's a pretty good option. And then I'm going to grab this like green, like it's like a neon green. Just call it green. It's not really a light green either. So yeah, that'll be that. And I think we can get started with that. Oh, you know what? One more thing. I'm gonna grab the white because it's probably, oh no, it's regular white. All right. So let's just, I'll just create a white. Just in case we do decide to change the white later, it will make it that much easier to just change it in one location rather than multiple spots. All right, so we have our colors. Let's go ahead and open up our page. Again, this is just our regular Next page. I'm gonna go ahead and clear this out and start putting in our new components. So let's save that. And then in my components file, I'm gonna create that first component. So I like to work top down just to make my life a little bit easier. So for this first component, it's going to be this bar up here, and then we're going to work on this section here. One thing to sort of pay attention to when you're first scoping out a design, when you're first building out a project, is like, where is the container? Like, where are the margins? What are sort of the edge limits of the page that you're building? So if you notice here, the margins for like where the phone is and where the logo is, they're aligned. So we're going to be wanting to use some sort of similar container for pretty much all of this application. The only difference is that this top bar, and I don't see if they have a footer, but definitely this top bar spans the width of the page. So this is going to be one we build separately outside of probably an internal container. So just something to keep in mind. So again, I'm going to build this. It's what? The phone number. It's like an alert sort of thing. It's like a notification almost, but then it also allows you to set your location. So I'm going to call it banner. We're going to call that banner because it's just like a top piece of information. So let's go ahead and create that. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and import it here. So banner will be our first component. Awesome. So now with banner, I'm going to create a box. And the background color of this box is going to be that dark green. So we're going to say background color. We're going to say colors dot dark green. And that's going to be that color. Now it's going to get a little bit tricky when we're trying to determine like height and width and stuff like that. But we'll get there. So we have that larger, like, whole thing, right? That's the background color. But we do still want this little container here. So I'm going to actually go ahead and utilize material-wise container component, right? Slash container. Save that. And I'm going to say the max width is going to be, I think it should be XL. It's pretty wide. We can change this, but I think we'll start with XL and see how that looks. And then within here, I'm going to create one box for each of these sections. So it's going to 1, 2, 3. So I'll probably do a flex box with the container. So let's say equals display flex. And we're going to say, let's say space between flex. Justify content. We're going to say space between. Let's see if that gives us what we want. In the first box, it's going to be that telephone icon and the phone number. So I think it was just like +00 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. In the middle, it was, and actually we can wrap these in typography elements to make our lives a little bit easier. So let me do that. Let's say typography. Actually, we might not even need the box. We might just be able to use typography. But it was like get 50% off on selected items. On selected items, and then it was a bar, and I think it says shop now. Yeah, so we have that, and then there are two drop downs here. One that says English, one that says location. So I'm just gonna say ing and location for now, and we'll poke that up in a second. All right, so we have those. Let's take a look at what it's looking like on our page. All right, so right now we're still in dark mode. So let me go ahead and make sure that we don't do that. Let's say, can we get rid of this and all that? That fixed it. Okay, so it was just going with dark mode because a lot of my computers set up in dark mode. Awesome. So we got that good. We want our color here though to be white because we can't read what it says right now. So we're gonna say, another thing we could do is customize our style, but I don't know if we need to do that. If I set it on the larger element, I wonder if it will change it. Let's try color. Let's go colors dot white and save that. Awesome, did all of them, perfect. So we have that, and then we need a little bit of padding, a little bit of margin around here. So let's say padding, top bottom, let's say 0.5 rem, and nothing on the left and the right because we have the container for that. All right, and that looks pretty decent so far. So the next thing I want to do is go ahead and grab that telephone icon. So I think, do we have icons, material? Yeah, MUI icon. So I wonder if it's like just phone, like import phone. It's something like that. Let's see if we can just phone from icons material. I think that's it. So we're gonna put the phone here. Phone next to the typography element. And yeah, that's pretty decent. So I'll just style this up a little bit better. And actually we'll put it next to this. Yeah, so we'll go display flex. And then the phone, we'll say margin right, 0.25 rem. Cool, decent. Middle one is fine. Let's do the end. The end should be, as I said, 2 drop downs most likely. I don't know if they have it fully built out. They do. All right, so these are language and these are location. So it's really just a simple drop down. I'm actually gonna hop over to MUI to see what options they have. We want like a drop down menu. Let's see what options they give us. Bottom navigation, no. Breadcrumbs, drawer, open drawer, not quite. This is the API itself. Menu. That's what we want. All right, so let's go ahead and spin up a couple of menus. So let's see how they've done their implementation here. All right, so they have just a basic button. And in addition to the button, they've gone ahead and created these menu items. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. And we're gonna go ahead and, it's gonna be 2 of them. I'm gonna make another component. All right, so let's create a new file. We're gonna say language selection.tsx. Good. And then I'm actually just gonna go ahead and copy the whole component and just change it. So export const. Change the name. And I just prefer using the more modern syntax, but you can do whatever you want. But yeah, this basically helps us a lot in terms of anchoring the menu to the element, creating that button. So we still have to style it and things like that. But actually, this might even be a better thing that we do, because looking at the example, it's like something that we use twice. We could actually just call this drop-down menu. So let me rename this and say drop-down menu, because we're gonna style it to how we want it to be styled. Drop-down menu, drop-down menu. I'm gonna say drop-down menu. I'm gonna save that. And then for the button here, it's gonna be ENG. It says ENG. I think it should be language, because then it's descriptive of what it is. And then the options are going to be English, let's say Spanish and French. And that will be our drop-down menu. So then now in our banner, where it says ENG, I'm gonna put in our drop-down menu. And actually, I made a mistake here. I'm creating a component that I want to reuse. So I want to actually pass in this information. So I'm gonna say button name, and then we're gonna say menu options, right? And we're gonna create a props interface so that we can define what these things are. So button name is going to be a string, and menu options is going to be an array of strings. And we're gonna assign this props, and then here we're gonna say button name, and then instead of just having them like that, I'm gonna say menu options.map, and for each option we want to go ahead and return a menu item with the option. So we're just customizing it a little bit to get what we're looking for here. So that'll make it a much more reusable component, so we don't need to make the same thing 4 times, right? Well, just twice, but you know, we don't need to make the same thing a bunch of times. So drop down menu for the first one is going to be button name. I'm going to say it should be language, because that makes more sense, because not everybody starts off with English. And then the menu options should be an array of English, French, and Spanish. You can put whatever languages you want here. And that's going to be that. So if I take a look at our project so far, what is it? Oh, it needs it to be use client. That's in drop down menu for sure. And that's just a Next.js thing. Okay, cool. So we have that. When I click, it does show up. Awesome. We want to style that button a little bit. So let's go ahead and let's see, where's the button? Button's here. We're going to say SX equals color. Let's say white. We're going to say text transform. I'm going to say none because it has like the capitalization. Awesome. That's looking pretty good. The next thing we're going to do as well is in this box here, we're going to go ahead and turn it into a flex box just so they display side by side. Cool. Language and location. We're going to say align items. It's going to be in the center. I'm going to save that. All right. Awesome. Looking pretty good. So now we just need to do the same thing but with location, right? So we'll say second option there. We're going to say location, and we're going to say USA. We'll say Canada, and we'll say UK. I'm not sure what kind of application this is, but those are our options for now. All right, so now when we click on language, we have all these options. When we click there, we have all those options. Awesome. Fantastic. The final thing I want to do is just align all of these things, because you notice they're kind of like up and down. So we're going to say align items. We're going to say center. I'm going to save that. Cool. And that looks pretty good. Pretty close to the design. Oh, sorry, one more thing. We need a chevron, I believe it is. So let's see if there's a chevron down. Down, or arrow. Downward. Let's see if that works. Arrow downward. That would be part of our, I'm importing into the wrong component. Let's see if the arrow downward, actually I can actually just check Material UI. They have, I think they have an icon section, and we're gonna say chevron, chevron, expand more. That is exactly what I'm looking for. So let's grab that. We'll go back over here and we will drop that into our drop down menu. We're going to say expand more icon. And button. Perfect. Exactly what we're looking for. I mean, we could even, say up and down, like expand more. if we're gonna expand less, right? We could say expand less. Whoops. Expand less icon, right? And then we could say, depending on which icon is showing, right? Open, expand less icon, or closed, expand more icon, right? And then if I go over here, awesome. You see how it changes? It's the little things, the little things that just make it a little bit more customized. All right, so we've got the banner. Banner's done. Next up, we want to go ahead and build this nav. So we need our logo, we need categories, we need deals, search. All right, there's a lot going on here. So let's go ahead and build that out. So I'm going to close a couple of these just because we're done with them. Cool. I think we can just go here. I'm going to create my new component. So we'll say navigation.tsx. Boom. And then within this, I'm going to create just an empty thing there. Sorry, navigation. Oh, no, wrong one. Navigation. Material UI also has a component called navigation, and that's unfortunately not what I want. All right, so we have navigation now. And in the nav, we want, yep, okay, good. We're seeing it there. But important point, you see how it's all the way to the left? We don't want that. Now looking at our application, the entire thing is within this container as we talked about before. And I don't see, my thing is I don't see anything else that needs to be separated. Like it's not like this section in the middle needs to be out like this and then, you know, it's like pretty much after this top, it's all the way in that container. So what I'm going to do is on the page, I'm actually going to go ahead and create a container here and say container. That same type of container we used earlier. And then I'm going to say max width. It's going to be XL. And we're going to save that. And that's going to be our container there. And so navigation is within that, max width, boom, it's popped over. So now we know everything else that we do. We're going to put the rest of our components within this container, and it's just going to fix that problem for us. So let me clean a couple of these up, and let's go build our nav. So for the nav, what do we need? We need logo, and then like menus and a couple of icons. Okay. So for the logo, I'm going to see if I can actually just grab it from them. Let's see if I can copy. Let's see if we can save the image as. Let's try that. All right, so I'm going to save the logo in the public. Actually, let me create a folder. I'm going to call it images. And within the images file, I'm going to save the logo. Save that. Awesome. So now we have our logo, and then we will go back here and we're going to use it. So with Next.js, you want to use an image component, just as the style. And the source is going to be, I think it's /images/logo.svg, but I always screw this up every single time. And then it's going to need a height and a width, which I am unsure of. So let's say height, let's say 75, and width, we'll say 150, just as an example. An image, oh, it's missing alt. This is going to be shop cart logo. Awesome. Looks pretty good. We'll leave it like that for now. So we have the logo. After the logo, we are going to need another drop down. So I'm happy we created that drop down style because then it just makes it that much easier. So we need another drop down. We need our deals. What's new? Delivery. So these are going to be probably a few different elements. Well, definitely a few different elements. So we're going to say first one's going to be a drop down menu. I'm not quite sure what they want in categories. Oh, okay. So this is that popular category section. So that actually might be a little bit different. For now, let's just list them. Let's say furniture, shoe, handbag. So we'll say button name. We'll say categories. And we'll say, what was it? Button name. Say I should give these better names. Button name and menu options. Options equals furniture, shoe, laptop, bag, headphone, book. Oops, I should make these separate items. Book, laptop. Laptop, there we go. Book, awesome, so we have our menu options. So let's drop down menus there. Oh, you know what the issue is also? What color is the text? Oh, it has an actual issue. Okay. Categories, deals, what's new, delivery. So the other three are going to be typography because they'll just be like navigation. They actually would be links once we really build this out, but we'll see how far we get. So we'll say, for now, they'll be typography elements. So we'll say deals, and then what's new and delivery. We'll say what's new, and we'll say delivery. We'll save that. And those will be our options there. Then we need this like, oh, there they are. Okay, so it's going down. And then this is white at the moment, so we need to change that. So we're gonna say, let's say color is colors dot, is it that dark gray? I think that's the dark gray. But it's not targeting the categories. Now, do we select that? We did specify the color has to be white. Okay, so maybe for this one, we just create a button, or we could pass another option. Because the thing is, if we do end up building out that product card, do we use this drop down again? We do, we use it here. Okay, what happens when you use it there? So this is part of the whole like planning stage. Like you want to really kind of figure these things out at the beginning rather than as you're building it, but better late than never. You want to just figure out what each of the components do, just so that you can build one thing and you don't have to build it like 6 times, right? All right, sorry about that. Screen stopped recording. All right, so yeah, we have our navigation set up here, and yeah, now what I want to do is just turn that to the side. And yeah, as I was saying, we see that we have it in sort of that container section right there. So we're going to make sure that we maintain that on this page. All right, so continuing with sorting out the navigation here, I'm going to go ahead and turn that into a flex box. We're going to say display flex, justify content, space around, or space between. And then we're going to want to align items to center. All right, cool. And that's looking pretty good so far. Looking pretty much like what we have here. Oh, you know what? Now we need to add in the search bar. So I'm going to make a new component. I'm going to call it search bar. Make sure, yeah, we're good. And we're going to save that there. And then we're going to go ahead and drop that in here. So we'll search bar, and we're also, there are 2 more here. It's what, like account and cart? Account and cart. So we'll go ahead and drop those in there as well, just so we have that for spacing. So we'll say account, cart, save that, search bar. So for the search bar, we're gonna need some sort of like input, like a text field input with like a button or something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and start by turning this into a box. It's just a div, and then I'll go over to Material UI, and I will go ahead and check for the, let's say, search bar. Yeah, it's kind of something like that I'm looking for, but I think if I just do a text field, I'll get the same. Yeah, let me just do a text field for now. So we'll go text field. And what properties does this come with? Variant, placeholder. All right, so let's say variant will be outlined. Oops, outlined. Placeholder. Oops, placeholder will be search products. Save that. And then Cool. Looking so far so good. Oh, you know what? I do actually need it to have the icon, the like magnifying glass icon. So let's go back here and look at the icons. MUI icons. Let's go magnifying search. Yep. So search icon here. And I'm gonna go, let's see if it'll let me put it in between. I think there's like a append, what is it called? Text field button. I think it was in that search actually, search bar. App bar was search field. There's like an append or some sort of thing you can do. Because we want this with the button, search app bar. Icon button. Oh, so they just put it within the toolbar. Okay. Alright, so maybe we won't do that, but I'll just put it outside, put it next to it, and then, oh, maybe I can wrap it in a form control or something. Whoops. Go text field. Good. And then maybe I'll wrap it in a form control. And then we'll turn it into a button. I'll say, I'm going to have an icon button. Icon button, yes. Button, variants, icon button. Okay, so let's do that. Let's change this to an icon button. So that, oops, go ahead and import that. Awesome. So that should just allow us to have the search icon just as a button. Awesome. And then for the form control, we're gonna say display flex. Save that, and then let's see, form control. We're gonna say, oh, we want a handle, so it'll say const handle search. Right now it's not gonna do anything, but if we get a chance to hook it up, we'll do that. So I say handle search, and we'll say on submit handle search, and then we're gonna say type equals submit. So that way, once that's clicked, it will handle that. So that should work. Oh, I do need interactivity, so I'm going to make this a client component. Good call. Save that. All right, looking pretty good. Why is this not? Maybe form control doesn't handle that. Okay, maybe I just need to say it explicitly, I guess. Okay. Search products, that looks pretty good. I would love for this to be inside. Text field append. Adornment. Adornment, that's what it's called. Adornment. Input adornment. So if we do input and input adornment, type text field, end adornment, right? End adornment. All right, let's see if this works. We'll say text field and we'll say end adornment equals I wonder if it's gonna work. End adornment does not exist. What if I make it input? Variant. Okay, we don't need the variant. That's not as important as having the adornment. Okay, awesome. Awesome, that looks pretty good. Let's see. It was like a type, right? It was the type or variant. Okay, so there is no variant, so we just need to style it ourselves, which is totally fine. Okay, cool. So for the input then, let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a style. Let's say it's gonna be like that light gray for the background. So we'll say background color is colors dot light gray. Let's take a look at that. Not bad. And then we'll say border radius. We'll say 3rem. Cool, looking good. We'll say border. I don't know if it's a border, but let's try border none. I'm just trying to get rid of that line. Maybe not. What is that line? Border bottom. Okay, so I think I need to go border bottom none. Border bottom none. Border bottom hidden, maybe. Maybe I need to target exactly what that is. Where did I see it? Border bottom. Input base root. One pick solid. It doesn't target it. Interesting. Okay. Let's go. What if we did and MUI input base dash root. Oh, and it's like before. I don't actually know if this is gonna work, but we'll see. We'll say border bottom none. Ah, wow, it worked. Awesome. All right, cool. So we'll keep that. And then we'll say, we'll give it a little bit of padding. We'll give it a bit of left and right padding. We'll say just a touch. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. It's a little not the right gray. Let me see. It's like almost a white gray. So let me see if I can add that. Let's go lightest gray. And maybe try that. Okay, that's a bit closer to what we're looking for. Maybe I can add a little bit more padding on the left and right there. Bump it up to 1rem. And yeah, that looks pretty good. All right, so next thing we got to do, we have that account and that cart on the right side there. So I'm going to go ahead and close the search bar. As I said, we'll come back and hook it up if we have enough time. And I'm going to go ahead and add the little icons they had there. I think it was like a person and the cart probably. So we're going to go with person. Awesome. Person. I'm just going to drop person here. We'll say person icon. Yep. Cool. And then we're going to go with the cart. I think it's add to shopping cart. Awesome. Perfect. We're going to go add shopping cart. Awesome. And then, yeah, looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and turn these both into flex boxes. We'll say display flex. Good. And then we'll say margin right. I think it was 0.25 run we did for the other one. Yeah, and then I'll just copy this. Yeah, if I was doing more than one of these, I would, or more than two, like if it was like a whole set of them, then I'd make it its own component, but just because it's just those two, I'll leave it as is for now. And that looks pretty decent. I think I'm gonna make the font size on that a little bit bigger. But other than that, I think, let's go font size, let's make it 1rem. I don't know if it's actually 1rem. Yeah, that should be right. All right, cool. So that's looking pretty good. I think we're pretty much set on the nav. Let's move on to the next section. The next section now is this like hero section, but if you noticed, when we went to the website, that is not the same hero section. So they have a different image here than they have over there. I think maybe what I'll do is try and save this hero image, because I do want to add this button in here and like the text and stuff. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. All right, cool. So we saved that. Next thing we want to try and do is bring it in a hero component. So let's go make a new component first. So we'll say hero.tsx. Awesome, save that. And then we'll drop the hero again within this container, because now everything else on the page is going to be within this container. So we're going to say hero and we'll import it. Perfect. We'll close that, we'll close this, close that. We don't need that at the moment. And then let's create this hero component. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say the background image is going to be, I think it's source. I might be wrong. It might be URL / images / hero.png. Let's try that and see if it works. That is not working. Let's say / images. You know, it also might be URL. I always forget what this is. URL. Okay, there we go. So it's URL / images / hero.png. So we have that. We also want to make, like, set the height. I think it's gonna be, well, actually no, sorry, we're not using that image. But we kind of want to follow this style. Let's make the height, let's fix the height for now, and then we can change it. So let's say height, 300 pixels, width, let's say about 1200. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, not bad. And then we'll say background size, and we'll go with contain, I believe. And we'll say background repeat. And it's gonna be no repeat. Maybe we should do cover for the background size. That way it takes up the whole thing. It's not really a great image, I'm not gonna lie to you. Cause, oh, did it just give us, that's super weird. Oh, so it's more than one image? No. Yeah, it's more than one image. Oh, so really, I just saved this piece, but this is a whole separate piece. Oh, geez. Okay, that just makes the whole thing that much more complicated. All right, let's skip this. Let's skip making this really complicated, because it's not that essential to what we're doing. I'm just gonna grab a screen grab of this, and we're gonna drop that in. So give me 1 second. All right, so now that we've saved that, I'm gonna just put this hero screenshot, I called it. So I'll say hero screenshot, and we'll save that. And let me look back here. Much better. All right, so I think that's what we're gonna go with for now. Not the greatest UX with a buy now button. You could like put a buy now button on top, but we're just gonna leave that as is. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and actually turn this into an image component from Next Image, and just set the source to be this, just to, because it's not really like we're not gonna put anything in it for now. So I'm just going to turn this into an image component. Oops, image. We'll say alt equals hero image. Height, we'll go with the same thing. That looked pretty good, 1200. Width, 300. Sorry, reverse that. Height 300, width 1200. Awesome, and it's going to give me a problem because I did not finish the URL. There we go. Okay, awesome. I think actually I wish it was a little bit wider. So maybe we'll try 1500, see if that doesn't blow it up too much. Okay, and we'll try maybe 400, 350. It's not gonna look great. Not gonna look super, super great. As I said, we could probably grab a better image for this, but we'll go with this for now. I'm also realizing this needs a bit more padding, so I'm gonna pop open the nav one more time. I'm gonna say margin, top bottom probably needs like 1 rem, nothing on the left and the right. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, awesome. We're getting there. We're getting there. All right, so next, and if you were gonna make this for a portfolio piece, I would recommend actually like photoshopping this whole thing and like catering it to exactly what you want it to showcase. But next step. So now we're gonna do this like filter situation. I think this will be a really cool piece to add to the project and to show off that you can actually build something like this. So we'll create a new file and we're going to say filters.tsx. And we are going to, let's see, we have headphone type, price, review, color, materials, All right, so now this is where it gets tricky, because if we want to use an API, we actually need the data from that API to see if we can filter that data, right? So I'm gonna take a look at this fake store API and see what kind of data it returns, see if we can use it for the filters. If not, maybe we just make our own thing. All right, it does have a filter, so that's great. So maybe we can incorporate that into what we have. So we have category, price. What are the filters? Say price, review. I don't know. Do we have reviews? I don't think we have reviews. So we can't filter by reviews. But we could at least do like one or two. So maybe we could do category and price. Okay, so let's try this. Let's try to fetch this. And it's a list of 50 products, which should be enough. Excuse me. And they have images. So let's try, in this next section, we're going to fetch the products first. And then we'll create our filter and we'll create our individual product cards. So first things first, I want to fetch the filters, but I want to fetch the products, but I actually want to fetch it probably in the page component, to be honest, because I might move it later, but I think that's probably the best spot for it right now. So I'm going to need to pass it to filters. I'm going to need to pass it to product cards. Maybe I can make a product component. Maybe that's better, because I don't want to turn everything into a client component unnecessarily. So let's call it products. And we'll create that. And we'll bring products again in here. Good. And then within this products component, let's do our fetching. So I'm going to make this a client component, which is fine because we're going to do a lot of interactivity with it. So we'll save that. And then we're going to say use effect. We're going to go ahead and say fetch. Oops, fetch. This. Good. Then we're going to take the response and we're going to say response.json. Oops, JSON. And then we are going to take that data and we are going to set products with our data. And where's products? Well, we're going to create a variable called products. Const products and set products. And we're going to say use state. Right now it is null, but once we set the products, that will happen. All right, so we'll load our products and then set products. Let me also just console.log then. So consoles. Console.log data. Awesome. All right, let me take a look at the page and see if we've gotten anything. Let me do a quick refresh. All right, whoa, that's a lot of results. Way more than 50. Let's take a look at this and see. So what that tells me is that the API might not be, the documentation at least, might not be up to date with the API. So we might have things we don't want, we might have things we do want, extra things. So let me just see what we have here. So we have category, created at, ID, image, slug, miscellaneous, updated at. Images, price. Okay, so we don't really get more interesting information, but we just get a lot of information, which is cool. We got a lot of products. Awesome. That's great. Name miscellaneous. I wonder if the documentation tells us anything about the categories. No. Okay. Oh, and you can create categories. Okay, interesting. So let's go ahead and just grab all of the products that we have here. maybe we'll do like a slice of them, just like the first 50 or something like that. Yeah, let me just compare this actually to the documentation. So ID slug, yeah, we have the category that, okay, so it looks as we expect it to look, which is good because we need to make sure the data is actually accurate. All right, let me close that. And then we are going to, yeah, let's go ahead and create our filter. Let's go ahead and actually create our product card, then our filter component, so we can test it on the product card. So for the product card, I'm just trying to think if that's the right way to do it. Yeah, let's make the product card first. So we'll say new file, we'll call it product card, card.tsx. Also bias for action, just build the thing, and then if you build something, you know, rebuild it, fix it up. So we're gonna go products.slice dot 0, 49, or let's see, 50, dot map, products.slice, products, and element, no. It's not assignable to the type. React node. All right, what if we call this any? Great. Dot map for each product, and we are going to go ahead and return a product card. That is going to be what we have for now. Now the product card is going to take the product information, and we don't know, well, we know the shape of that. So we'll say interface props. We'll say product, and then we will say it is going to be in the shape of one of these. You know what, I'm going to say any for now, but we'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right, so product, because I also want to try and incorporate, the reason I'm skipping some of this stuff, I want to try and incorporate Claude into this and see if Claude can fix a lot of these any typings. So intentionally skipping over more monotonous tasks in favor of seeing what we can do with a little help from AI. Even though it's going to take over. All right, so product card, passing product. Let's see what it looks like. So it's the like image, and then the title, the price, maybe a little bit of description. We don't have the rating, but we can work around that. So for the product card, let's start with the image. So we'll say image, from next image, and the source is going to be product dot images, product dot images bracket 0, and then we're going to say the alt is product dot, is it name, title. We're going to do product dot title, and then we're going to say the height is 600, width is 400, not sure if that's right. And then, yeah, that should have our first piece there. Cannot remember, check remember style. Oh, should have a key. So then the key is going to be product.id, because we do know that actually exists. We'll save that. The child. Product card page. Let's refresh. Oh, maybe it's not unique. Interesting. Because I was wondering, it seems like it's a lot of products, but let's do this. Okay, product can't read undefined. Interesting. Product images 0 is undefined. Well, let's do this. We'll do product dot images dot length is greater than 0 and this. If not, it should not render. All right. Product. Invalid source prop because now it has no image. Okay. Let's see. For this now, sorry. Let's do product, maybe a product category dot image. I think that was the other option there. Invalid source prop. Interesting. Let me give it a fallback. Or images / logo, right? Just give it something to fall back to and see if that still doesn't work. All right, we are getting this error. Invalid source prop on next image is not configured under images in your next.config.js. Oh, I see. Sometimes reading is fundamental. So it's saying that my next config should have this host name. Okay. So, what do I want to do here? Next config. How does it want us to structure it? Let's see. It was host name, right? Host name. Allow dev origins. Yes. Maybe this. Let's see what it's saying. Host name by imager. Yeah, I think that's what we want. Let's try it. Let's see if that works. Oops. All right, I am going to see. We're just talking about AI. I'm gonna ask Claude, what's up? What does it think we should do? This codex. Yeah, I mean, the alternative is to just search the internet to find the answer. Error indicates you're trying to be doing food. Yep. Okay. Allow dev origins, images, remote path. All right, so this is. So again, this is like an issue we'd only run into using this API. So it's an API specific issue. I mean, we might run into it with other APIs. I'll need to restart it for it to take effect. Okay, cool. Okay, I do need to restart it. Sometimes it says that and you don't need to. But okay. Cool, so that should work now. Should. Nope, still does not like that. Invalid source prompt. Hostname placehold.co is not configured under your source prompt. All right, let's try this again. Let's say, because now it's done it once. We should be able to figure this out in theory. Hostname placehold.co. All right. Let's see if that fixes it. It's refreshing. All right, awesome. Look at that. Look, bikes for days. All right. I'm guessing some of these are like user added products, which might be an issue. Maybe we should find a different fake store API because actually this is looking a little not promising. Let's go fake store API because there's another one. There's another fake store API. Yeah, I've used you. If you've seen some of my videos before, you've seen me use this previously. So I think maybe this is the way to go. All right, yeah, let's do this. I'm gonna use this fake story API instead. I'm just not super confident in what is this other one is giving us here. So I'm actually just gonna reset this file. And then instead of that, I'm gonna just grab from here, and similar concept, but it's going to be product.image. And yeah, product title. Okay. And then, oh, we even have the product, like a really sort of straightforward structure that makes it easy, you know, to type. So we say number, string, oops, string, number, oops, number, and string. Awesome. So we have our numbers and our strings. Let's take a look at what it says in the console log. Did I have a console logging still? I do. Okay. Refresh. Ooh, image is missing. Required alt property. Okay. Missing required source property. Okay. So not working so great yet, but we'll get there. Use state any null. Products. Or you know what? We could do if products equals null, return loading, else return products. All right. Oh, it did not. 404 not found. Let's see. Oh, that would be my fault. That because we're trying to fetch twice. That doesn't make sense. All right. Let's fix that. Save that. Awesome. Refresh. Because here we go. Here we go. Getting products now. Good. Now we're actually getting the products. All right, cool. Let me see. And actually, I don't think we need this slice because it's not so many products anymore. No. All right. I'll keep the is loading though. If products equals null, return a div with is loading. And then, actually, no, what I'll do is I'll say const is loading. Sorry, this is the easiest pattern in the world. Set is loading. And we'll say use state. And we'll say loading is true. But we're gonna do all of that, and then we're gonna say set is loading to false. And then we're gonna say if is loading, show that, but else not. So that should fix it. Hydration failed. Input. Browser. Okay. Use client. Okay. Cancel. Whoops. Cancel. No, don't want to do that. Run dev. All right. Try it one more time before we ask for help. One more time. Okay. Invalid source prop. That's great. No, that means it's working. That means it's passing the data. Awesome. Oh, same issue. Okay, host name fixture API. All right, so we're gonna hit this issue either way, but at least this way, I think we're getting better images. So let me go back to the file that I changed to not be that file anymore. We're gonna pass this. Oops, I'm gonna pass that in. Gonna get rid of that, and hopefully that's a quick fix. All right, it stopped itself. Restart it. Is loading. Amazing. We have products. All right, cool. So we have our products. Let's go ahead and set up the rest of the card. So we have the products. 600 by 400 is probably way too big. Let's do 300 by 200. Yeah, because there's 4 in a row here, so we don't really need it to be that big. I'm gonna see if we can do a background color. I don't know if we can. Actually, I should just try it on here. Say background color, colors, dot lightest gray. I don't know if that's gonna work. Oh, nice, they are. There are PNGs. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go create a box around the image because it's not a Material UI component, it's a Next.js component. So then I can add my stylings on the Material UI component. I'm gonna add some padding all around. So 1 rem of padding all around. And then we're gonna say border radius of like 2 rem, maybe 3 rem, no 2 rem. We'll save that. Awesome, look a little bit closer there. And then we are going to say for the products now as a whole, we're gonna say display flex. Awesome, flex wrap though. It's gonna wrap. Wrap. Awesome. And then we are gonna say for each of the cards, no, actually, we're gonna say justify content space, oops, space between. Let's save that. Awesome, looking pretty good. I think I've made them a little bit too tall or too short. Or not wide enough. Maybe I'll do 250. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Okay, awesome. And then we're gonna give them margins on the top and the bottom. So I'll say margin, top, bottom. Let's say 1 rem. Do that. Awesome. The reason I don't want to give them left and right margins is to keep them in that like container sort of spacing. So that, yeah, that's just the reason for that. But awesome, these are looking pretty good so far. Now, granted, they're not the same style of image, so like I could make the cards a bit wider, but I'm good with this for now. The next thing we're gonna wanna do is add in all that text at the bottom. So we're gonna make another box, and it's gonna be the title, the price, the description, and a rating. I don't know if this API returns a rating. Let's see. It might, I think it might. It does return a rating, fantastic. All right, so let's copy this. So we need the title, which is a title, fantastic. So we'll say typography, we'll say product.title, and then we need another one that's product.price, I think. And then we need another one that is product.rating.rate. Rating.rate. It says it does not exist. Dear rating. It's going to be rate, which is a number, and count. Count, which is also a number. Awesome. Awesome. This is actually probably the better API to use. Let's do that. Cool. So we have the rating dot rate, and we also need the rating dot count. Good. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we can move away from the API now and finish filling this out. All right, so now we have a different problem. Now they are different lengths and different sizes. So maybe we need to give it a fixed width. So we're gonna say width 250. Regardless, doesn't matter. Width is 250. Okay, that kind of screws up some things though. All right, so maybe need to make them a little bit wider. Maybe the width needs to be 300 or 350. Let's call it 300. And then we're gonna fix the height as well. So we're gonna say height, or maybe we'll say, no, we should say it should be fixed. So we'll say height 400. Good, so now they're all the same size, which is better for us. So, actually, but that doesn't look tall enough. Let's do height is 450. Great, now everything fits. Awesome. So yeah, for this now we're gonna say font weight is probably around 600. Font size, probably 1.125 rem or maybe 25 rem. Good. And then these two are going to be rep. So the price and the title are going to be next to one another. So we're going to say title and price, and then this is also going to be font weight 600. So let's say font weight 600, and then I'm going to throw a $sign in front of there because we're doing dollars for now. Now there's another thing you'd want to think about. If you're changing the language and location, does it change to pounds? Does it change to, well, we just had US, Canada, and America, and the UK, so it would just be dollars and pounds. But that's a thing I would change. But then you'd also want to convert it because probably wouldn't be the same price. Again, this is talking about real data. This is fake data, but I'm just saying these are things that you'd want to think about. You'd probably want to pass the currency symbol as part of the API, or have some way to figure it out based on the API. All right, so product and price, we're going to do a display flex for this. Display flex, save that. And then we're going to say justify content. We're going to say space between. Okay. And I think I'm going to want to concatenate this. Can I do just a dot slice? Like 25 characters. Not the cleanest thing in the world, but it does concatenate it. Okay, that works for now. Let's see if the length is longer, then I want to return a dot after. All right, don't worry about it too much. Let's try and add a rating. Oh, that's gonna be a little bit tricky as well. For the logic for this, we want stars that we can change the color of. And these are all just 5 stars. All right, so we want stars. Let's see first of all if we can grab a star from here. Star. And it's a filled star. We'll say star icon, and we're gonna say I wonder if we can do this. Right, dot for each. Oops. No, it's for each. Let's say. If it's 3.6, we want it to map to. I mean, we could do a whole like function here. Actually, this will be an interesting test. Let's do this. So we'll say const find number of stars, right? And we take in the rating. So we'll say yeah, let's take in the rating. Rating, and then we'll say switch on the, what is it? Switch.js. Switch on the rating. Case. Rating is 1. Oh, you know what? I want rating dot floor. Or no, rating math dot floor. Math dot floor. JS. Yeah, math dot floor. Okay, cool. Math rating. Math dot floor with the rating. That's what we want. Perfect. All right. So now, case where it is 1, right? Yeah. Would help if we use the right syntax. There we go. Okay. So, case where the answer is 1. We want to return, return star icon. Just 1. And I'm just experimenting here, so this might not work. Case 2, return 2 star icons. Now this, and also this is not the best way to do this, right? Like this is, there's a reason I'm doing this all. All right, so case 3. Three star icons, you get the point, right? Cool. So we have, good. Rating is a number type. Good. So we have find number of stars and we pass in the product rating.rate, right? And in theory, now we get the number of stars, right? So it's that, it's that, it's that. The reason those aren't showing up probably because they are of a higher rating. It's probably 4 or 5. So say 4 or 5. Good, right? We have our stars. Amazing. The reason I did it like this is because I want to show that like you can kind of force something as, you know, somebody who is learning how to code, trying to figure out the best way to do things, but we can still use AI in a way that would assist us without fully doing the work with us, right? Like we did the work is done. It actually works. But we can say in @product card for find number of stars, what is a more optimal solution, right? So this is kind of like going to Reddit, going to Stack Overflow, sorry, and actually like searching for this solution. It's going to do that and do it in a more effective manner. Like it's already given us an answer, right? So it says, looking at that, there's a much more optimal solution. Of course, it's repetitive. Of course, that's what we're saying. So the solution here, and it's only useful if you learn from it, but the solution is useful. So it says return array from length of math.floor rating index star icon index. Yeah. And then you can do a half star approach. Okay. So I'm not going to have it updated for me. I'm going to go ahead and type it up because again, I'm trying to implement AI in an ethical way where it's like, it helps us, but it does not fully do everything for us. So let's see if we can get this working as expected. So we're going to say, find number of stars, rating as a number. So we want to return. We're going to copy this over, like array.from, but I feel like copying it gives you a bit more information. So we're going to say length math.floor of the rating, which is what we had. So far, you know, the solution's not terrible. And then we're gonna say this underscore comma index return the star icon, and then the key is gonna be the index. All right, good. And we'll pass find number of stars down here. Perfect. And it is complaining because I have accidentally gotten rid of something. Find number of stars. Oh, I've added something. There we go. All right, so find number of stars should now work, but just in a much more optimal way. What I would suggest that you do, if you know you're unfamiliar with this syntax or whatever syntax that Claude or ChatGPT or Codex or whoever provides to you, go and look it up after the fact, right? So we can see array.from. So it's taking whatever the thing you passed to it and it's turning it into an array, right? So it's just basically taking this syntax and turning it into an array. And using it, in our application. So it's really just more about using it in, as I said, in an ethical way rather than in like a, you know, I'm just gonna have it do all the work for me. So I'm not gonna bother with the half star for now. That's an optimization that, again, we could spend weeks and weeks working on this project. But I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of alignment on this. So we'll say display flex. We're gonna say align items to be in the center. And then we're gonna say, oops, justify content, say space between. Oh, that's a little bit too much space between, never mind. I'm gonna wrap this one in a box, the stars, and I'm actually just gonna give it a margin right. So we'll say margin right of 1 rem. Okay, good. Can I change the color of these icons? I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's try red so we can actually see it. Oh, awesome, works. So let's go with our colors. So we'll say colors dot green and save that. Awesome. So we have our green stars. Missed a very important point here though, is that the product card, the background, this box should only have the image in it. So let me go ahead and move all of this out of that box. Just so, yeah, we don't have that there. And then I'm going to change the height of this box to only be about 300 pixels. Might be too small. Yeah, a little bit too small. Let's do 350. 350, perfect. But now we have that space. And then the margin, I'm actually going to hoist to here. So it's the whole card as opposed to this like inner box. So that looks pretty good. Let me go ahead and add a little bit of margin here. Margin top, 0.5 rem, save that. Good, and let's take a look at the design. Yeah, it kind of goes to the edge actually. The last thing we're going to want to do is add an add to cart button. Now again, we don't have any cart, nothing, you know, we haven't built anything like that yet, but we want to have it for when we do get to that stage. So I'm actually going to create this as a button, because if you take a look around, you'll see that this button is used in multiple places. Like we have the buy now, apply coupon. It's the same button, this buy now if we made it. So I'm going to actually just create a button. So I'm going to say button.tsx, and I'm going to say, say box. Actually, I'm going to say button because we're going to be, for accessibility purposes, we want to be correct. I'm going to say import button from the material. Awesome. Button as MUI button. We'll do that. I always, because I make a lot of buttons, so I run into this error frequently. Okay, so we have our button, and then I'm going to say the name for the button. Name. I say interface
props. Let's say button. Button. Or sorry, name. That's gonna number. Wow, name. We're gonna say string. All right. Props. Awesome. And then for the button, we are gonna drop it in the product card. So this is gonna go right underneath this. Say button from our button. We're gonna say name equals. Name equals add to cart. Save that. So now we're gonna go ahead and style it. So let's do, it's like gonna be the dark, or no, on hover it's a dark green. So it's really actually the black. So it says it's, let's do border is gonna be 1 pixel solid, and we're gonna grab our color. So we'll say colors dot colors dot black, and then we're gonna say border radius is 3 rem, and then what else? We're gonna say color is colors dot black. I know a lot of what the presets of the MUI button is going to look like, so I'm just trying to override all of those. We're going to say background color is going to be colors dot white, and then we want to do white, and then I just want to see it. There we go. Then we want to go and hover is going to be background color is going to be colors dot dark green, color is going to be colors dot white, and is that it? Oh no, and border will be 1, and this is important because if you set a border on one state and you don't set it on both states, you're gonna have like a shifting in the UI. So you want to make sure. Jeez. There we go. All right, we're gonna do colors dot dark green. All right, we gotta wrap this up. Colors dot dark green. All right, awesome. We might need a little bit of padding. Let's take a look at how that looks. Yeah, a little bit of padding on the left and the right. Ooh. 0.5 rem. Good. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to. Maybe it's 1 rem on 0.75 rem. Maybe it's 1 rem all around. Oh, okay. Okay. But now, sorry, there we go. But now, there we go. So you see it doesn't shift. So if I were to comment out this border here, right? Or this border here, which one? Yeah, there we go. That's a better view. So if I comment out that border, every time now the whole row shifts, and you don't want that. So you just leave a border on. Well, it needs the border for the design, but leave the border on both scenarios. If it was like the reverse design, you just leave it there. Okay, so now we have our cards, and really the whole card should probably be a link, or parts of the card should be a link, but again, we don't have other pages yet. So we've done all that. The thing is, we want on our products page to actually be filtering these products, right? We don't necessarily want to show all of them. So got a couple more minutes here. Let's go ahead and create a new file called filter.tsx. And we might actually end up doing this within it. Let's see what we have. Categories on this one, right? Yeah, categories. We want to filter it by price. Does it give us an example of how it wants us to do that? They don't even do it. All right. We are building. Oh no, they do. Fashion. Okay, so they just do it by category, but it doesn't change. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do that. Let's do it by category, and maybe it changes. So how do we want to do this? Let's do, we have all our products, and we're going to say categories dot, products dot categories dot filter, and it's going to be for whatever we change the filter to. Yeah. And that's what we do. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna go const, we're gonna say filtered products, set filtered products, use state, no, don't know what they are yet. Just say const filter, set filter, use state, no, don't know what it is yet. Cool. For the filters, I want to go ahead and return basically one for each of every type of filter, right? So set products to data. I want to set categories or filters at const categories, set categories, use state, no. And then I want to do like a singular of each of those. So set products, set categories to data dot, let's see, is it a set map? That's not what I want. JavaScript set. Let's see. I want just the categories. So really, I want to say for all the products, go through them, and then for all the products, go through them, determine the filters, and then create a unique set of the filters. So let's do const get categories, because it's getting a little bit long. Categories. Oops. We're going to say, what am I passing to this? For this, I'm passing the data. So I'm going to pass every product. We'll say product dot category, I believe it's singular. Yep, product dot category. So we'll say const all categories. And again, I'm going to use ChatGPT or Claude here. Equals that product dot category, product dot products dot map for each product. Return all categories dot push product dot category. Right. Good. Good. So we'll have all categories, and then we'll say set categories to be a new set. Yes. To be a new set of all categories. In theory, set any it doesn't like that. Okay, let's try if all categories does not equals all categories dot length is greater than 0. Then do this. Does not like that. All right. Argument type of set unknown is not a sign of a set state action. No. Ah, it's a setter. I'm not paying attention. I need to just pay attention more. All right. Great. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let's say get categories with the data. We're going to pass in say data, data, data. Good, 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 good. And then, so now we have categories, right? So for categories, we're gonna say categories dot map for each category. We want to return a filter. Dun, da, da, da. And category is going to be a string. And then we're going to say the filter, the category, is going to be the category. Don't know why I'm saying it like that, but category. Perfect. All right. Category. Pass that. Interface. Oh, okay. Gotta wrap this up. Props. Category. Gonna go string. All right. Props. Cool. Category. Amazing. Take a look. Category submap is not a function. Why? Why? Category submap is not a function. I feel like it should be. Categories. Categories that like add. All right, let's go ahead and console.log categories. Let's go ahead and inspect. All right, so we have, oh, but it's not a set. Oh, and it's like an infinite loop. Oh, that's terrible. All right, so let's not do that. All right, I'm running out of time. So let's go ahead and say, fix the filter in @products.tsx. Yes, there is an infinite loop in the use effect. We know. We know. Yes, don't ask again. I'm gonna trust it. Great. Great, that makes more sense. Yep, that, okay. So basically we weren't creating it into back into an array, which was the issue. So now when we go back over here to products, we should see a div with all our filters. Interesting, why don't we see that? Ah, here they are. There they are. All right, good. So let's go ahead and say flex direction is going to be column. And then for each of these filters now, we're going to turn them into buttons. Do that kind of button for now. And then we're just going to pass it an on-click. Why am I passing it an on-click? Because it does not actually need to know what's going on with this on-click. So category string void void. Great. Amazing. Why is it upset? Why would it be upset about that? Is it because of the type? Okay. Oh, duh. Duh. Because an on-click would actually category, right? That's what it's saying. Sometimes TypeScript's just trying to help you, you know? It's just trying to help you out. All right, so we're gonna say set filter. On click, we're gonna say call set filter. That's gonna be, all right, so that's what we're gonna, that's the type. React dot category string null or string get rid of the null. Oh, created more issues. Null. Good, everybody's happy. All right, so on click, we're gonna set the filter. And then we, instead of showing all of the products, I'm gonna ask Claude to do this really, really quickly before we run out of time. We're gonna say, use the filter variable to filter products. That didn't make any sense. It's not gonna be able to figure it out. Let's say, use the filter variable to filter products by the category. That's the other thing about prompting. You have to actually understand what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not going to work. All right, cool. All right, so it's gone ahead and added in that filter. Done that by filter products. Yes, but did it actually filter them? We'll see. Now, let's see what it did. I'll update products, filter, filter, actually it's filter components. I need to fix the TypeScript error. So it's fixing our TypeScript errors. That'll be the last thing I ask it to do. I'll just ask it to go through and fix all of the TypeScript errors. Adding the filter effect. Okay, so let's see if this works. Wow, it kind of really broke everything as well. Let's say jewelry. Okay, so it's working. Women's clothing, electronics. Totally broke the like image, like the style though. Which I let it do, right? Like I just let it run wild. But how the heck did it manage that? Filter, categories, category length, filter, on click, that looks fine. Filter product card. Maybe I should do this. Okay, well that's fine. I'm gonna wrap this in a box, that's what I'm gonna do. Why is that so wide? Invalid. All right, so let me just fix up the style real quick, and then we're gonna wrap up this portion of the video. So as you can see, it's kind of tweaked our styles a little bit, made it not so great. I'm wondering how it managed to do that. Let's see what it did here. Set filtered products, that is loading. Use effect. Okay, so I added a second use effect. If products, if filter is loading. Second box there. Say display. Oops, we're gonna say size equals display flex. Awesome, there we go. We're going to say justify content space between. Amazing. We're going to say for this one equals display flex. I'm going to say justify content center. Cool. Oh, we want this to wrap, so we're going to say flex wrap. Wrap. Good. So, yep, now they're wrapping. Amazing. One thing we don't have an option for here, which would be good to add, is like an all. Because right now it's filtered by men's clothing. Now it's filtered by jewelry. Now it's filtered by electronics. Right? So definitely adding some additional thought into this, I think, would be the way to go. But yeah, this is just like the first page. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see me build out the rest of the pages on this website, leave a comment below letting me know. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe. And if you want to see how I leveled up my coding skills in just 30 days, click on this video right here. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.